To change the world, we have to start thinking ahead of the curve. Hey guys, it's John here in the studio. It is a beautiful sunny day outside, but the snow is reflecting right in my window, so I'm going to keep my curtain partially closed here. I am in the throes of beginning a preparation for my fast in March, so I have started reducing carbohydrates, and I'm sitting here sipping a little bit of beef broth, which is so tasty. So I wanted to hop on and talk about this concept of being ahead of the curve. The other day I put out a video, and I specifically put a warning on it that there was going to be politics talked about in that video. I also specifically said, I know that I will lose subscribers. And I did. I lost some subscribers. I also gained some subscribers. What I find really interesting about losing the subscribers is that they've been watching my channel now for a while, most of them, and there are 1,300 videos on my channel, and my one video made them unsubscribe. But why would someone unsubscribe? Because I didn't believe as they did. And so they aren't willing to listen to anybody else's point of view and will negate. Another thing that happened was several people called me naive. And I when I heard that term, I thought it was rather interesting, because to call someone naive is just putting yourself in a position of power over them, saying that you know more than they do. And when I look at that I think that is just, it's like that famous Socrates quote, when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. Now, I think to call someone naive is to slander, is to try to put them in place, try to put them beneath you. I think one of the issues that some people have with some of the things that I talk about is that I'm not thinking about the present. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about living into and creating a future that's coming to my life in a loving world. And when I see from the people who call me naive, it's the people who are sitting here focusing on the things that are happening in this moment, not realizing that the more they give focus to those things, the more they're empowering them to continue or to grow. I think that more of us need to think beyond the curve. We need to think beyond the curve. We need to get out there and say, and rather than say, I am fighting against this, like Mother Teresa said, don't go to an anti-war rally, go to a pro-peace rally. When you focus on how bad something is and then create story around it that perpetuates that badness, all you're doing is perpetuating the badness, right? The only way we can change this physical world is to start being more loving to everyone. It is the only way it can happen. Being ahead of the curve is really deciding what the future will be and living into that. You can't go to the store next Thursday right now. That's what my good friend Holly told me a while back. And I love that because it's true. There's nothing you can do in the future. There's nothing you can do in the past. There's only one moment that you have the ability to do anything, and that is the present moment. The present moment. The future coming towards you will be a direct reflection of what you did here, didn't thought here in the present moment. And so when you take this moment and you focus on how bad things are, all you're doing is perpetuating the bad things. I am joyfully living into a beautiful, loving world, and I experience it. Somebody else on one of my videos said, well, I live on the border and I've had my car broken into and my neighbor had their house broken into and I've heard gunshots and someone got shot in my neighborhood and she was, I don't know if she has seen my response yet. I had all those same things happen. I live in Ohio, right? But hasn't happened to me. All of those things are a reflection of fear. People are having fear, and so fearful things are happening. It doesn't happen to me, right? My neighbor got broken into. I didn't get broken into. So it comes back to this idea that And it's something I say frequently. Our job isn't to save the world. Our job is to make our part of the world so bright that the world chooses to save itself by choice. The people around us start to be more loving. People around us start to be more caring because they've had someone be loving to them. Joshua said, love one another. And when I see someone calling me naive because I just choose to love instead, all I hear is their fear. All I hear is their anxiety. They're saying I'm naive because they are in fear, and they are choosing to perpetuate fear by focusing on fear. The idea of living into a loving world and creating a loving world is a personal one for each one of us. You've got to change your personal perspective about fear. You need to come back to being a loving place because it's right there at the bottom of your exhale. The second you release your fear, it's right there. Love is right there. But it's our conscious choice to be in fear. I go back to that statement again. Buddha said, secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. We've got to release the fears. And you don't release the fears by focusing on atrocity. You don't release the fears by focusing on anti-war, because anti-war is focused on war. Focus on pro-peace, just like Mother Teresa said. The idea that I'm naive, I find it kind of amusing, because I think I'm ahead of the curve. It's like when I one time had a conversation with someone who was very much up in arms and struggling against LGBTQ rights. And I literally said, I think we're all equal. But I think the second we start dividing into categories like that, you're just creating division. I said, why don't we just say we're humanity? And she was incensed that I wasn't up in arms and angry with her about her chosen fear-based anger. I wanted the same thing she did. I was just being ahead of the curve. I was being up there in the place where we're all equal. And she was being down here in the fight. Well, being in the fight creates more fighting. Being something different creates something different. And the only thing you can do in this world to change the world is to make your part of the world so beautiful and bright that the world chooses to save itself around you. And it doesn't do it by calling me names, which several people did on that video. Most of you didn't see the ones that call me names because YouTube flags anything that calls me a name, and then I just hide them from the channel. I also had a lot of people telling me, "Ha ha ha, you're ridiculous! How dare you? I hope all the immigrants end up in your backyard and blah blah blah." I just delete them too. It's like you're in a fear rant, and you're not going to hear anything loving because you are in the fear rant. Get ahead of the curve. Get ahead of the curve. Get into that place where you yourself are loving. Smile at that person who looks different from you. Hold a door for someone who you might have before been afraid to even interact with. Say good morning to someone who you're intimidated by. Break the cycle of fear. Be love. I leave you one commandment. Love one another. Just love one another. It's not that hard, and it gets really easy once you start. But as long as you're going to stay focused on fear and anxiety and stress and atrocities in the world, you are going to stay in a world full of atrocity. Like I said, when I went to Egypt, I traveled all over that country. I was treated beautifully everywhere I went. Ran into another American. Everywhere he went, people wanted to fight him. He was in fear. I was in love. That was the only difference in our two experiences. I went there loving everyone I met and was so excited to talk to everybody and engage. He went there in fear of being attacked by Muslims because he was a Christian. And so those divisions, his division of these Muslims want to get me, made his entire experience a situation where they wanted to fight him. Quite honestly, the man was a butthead. That's why people wanted to fight him. Well, he's a butthead because he's in fear. You're not a butthead when you're in love, when you're loving. And people will treat you kindly and well. But it really does come down to you making that choice to just be loving, being ahead of the curve, not being sitting in the present moment saying, this is how life is. This is how life has been, but now I am creating a new world. I am getting ahead of the curve, and I am bringing love into the experience so that the world can be loving. And I wanted to say this because that video I put out the other day, I put it out because I was really feeling it. I was really feeling it. I made a offhand comment in one video, and several people came in and called me naive and several other names. So I made the bigger video just to show my real stance on it, what I really believe. And people don't like what I really believe. Some people who are fearful don't like what I really believe. And that's okay. That's quite all right. That's theirs, not mine. I'm going to be loving, and you be loving too. And if we do it together, we'll create more loving people, and the world will change by our example. That's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.